Hello! In this video, I'm revealing what no one tells you about building in public while streaming. I've been streaming for about 87 days, and my high-level metrics for Twitch and YouTube have been about, it says here, 334 follows gained, but there's people that unfollowed, and then there's 186 subscribers gained in all time. And yeah, overall, I'm streaming for about 13.9 hours per day, and that's my high-level metrics. I'm going to pretty much go over, if you want to know why I built in public on Twitch and YouTube, I have a video over here. I'm going to go over how I got my first viewer, how I gained my first daily viewer, how I went from 0 to 1 users of my product, and going from 1 to 100 followers and subscribers and more. Do have a like goal of 100 likes on this video. If you have not hit the subscribe button, please do so now. It really helps me a lot. I appreciate the support, and it signals to me to make more videos like this. I also have a subscribe goal of 1 million on every platform. It's a challenge that I made for myself, and I hope to get your support there. I also have a Discord. It's in the description below. And I'm also live on YouTube 12 plus hours every day. So say hi if you see me online. And I'm probably live right now as you're watching this video. So say hello. I'm also going to go over the dark side of streaming. But yeah, I'll get started from the first parts. So when you're building in public, I decided to stream on Twitch and YouTube. And I really recommend looking at my previous video of me getting banned from the vibe coding Discord for the Reddit, the vibe coding subreddit. And the TLDR is I got banned. I created my own community and ended up using it as a way of marketing as well for my community and my product. And I'm going to start I'll share a story of how I got my first viewer. I did a lot of research ahead of time about streaming on Twitch, and I got the expectation that I was going to be streaming to 0 people for most of the stream, and they were right. However, you just gotta stay persistent on streaming. So although I was streaming to 0 people for a good 5+ hours, eventually someone said hello and got my first viewer on Chatter. Some things that probably helped is I had good eye candy. I had some really cool graphics in the on the screen. And as we know, for people that watch Twitch, they pretty much have ADHD. So you got to do something to keep their eyes on the screen or listening to your voice. How I gained my first daily viewer. It actually first started with research of the community that I wanted to target. I have a niche, which is vibe coding. So I was researching, what exactly do people search for on Twitch or YouTube when they're trying to find a stream? And most of it was through looking for trends and keywords. And eventually those keywords lead to tags. And those tags will eventually lead you your first viewer. And then from there, you really have to take over and build a client relationship with the viewer. So getting to know what they're working on, how they find the stream, what's their place in life, and overall they'll come back if they're really interested in what you're working on, or if you have a good personality. It also helps to have good skills. I don't really mention this, but if you have skills to show off, I think people will be surprised to see if they could learn from you, or, you know, give you tips to help you out and support you. Next thing I want to talk about is how I went from 0 to 1 users for my product. It actually happened on my first viewer, believe it or not. My first viewer, as soon as they viewed me or found my stream, I shared my product and they installed it right away. So the one lesson I recommend is to have your product distributable as soon as possible. Make it easy for them to download and install at a click of a button or a click of an install. And that really helps. It also helps if you make the product free. It gives you a chance to identify if, you know, they could test it, break with it, and it really gives you that early feedback cycle. I was surprised, you know, there's people out there that would install stuff right away, even though you don't know them. But I feel like when you're streaming, it already builds some form of trust that like you're a person that exists, you're building in public. So that, like, I don't know, there's some people out there that aren't security conscious and they're just willing to give it a try. So you might run into those type of people. The next is going from 1 to 100 subscribers and followers. The grind never stops. It took between 40 to 50 days to get my first 100 followers and subscribers on every platform, or on those 2 platforms. There's usually 2 options to get to this point. You either get a endorsement or you don't. I wasn't unfortunate enough to get an endorsement or raid by anybody except once, but it was a little small group, not too big. But ideally, the one way to get blessed is to always pay attention to the news. When you pay attention to the news, you can identify the trends. Then you could, you know, take advantage of the keywords and tags for your channel. And then when people are interested in a subject, they will search for that particular tag or keyword, and they will, you know, eventually find your channel. The other part that really helps is creating value. So, you know, the one way to increase your luck is to be persistent and always be live. There are some things that you can compare to other streamers. Some stream for 1 hour, some stream for 3 hours. You got to compare to see if you could take that little niche market and market share of viewers from the people that are interested in that community. The next one that I recommend, when you're growing your following, it really helps to get feedback. So, especially from your product. So usually, you know, followers like to help you out and give you feedback right away on what's wrong with your website or your product. And when they use it, it's, you know, if it's 5-coded like mine, expect to ship a broken product. It happened to me several times. It still does to this day. And, you know, your supporters will understand. So it's okay to have the struggle of shipping a broken product. You'll learn from it, and, you know, you'll just make the product better over time. The other thing too is if your following is too big, you might not be able to handle the support, especially if you're vibe coding and you don't have enough tokens to fix all the problems or introduce all the features. Yeah, you might be overwhelmed here. The next thing too, the one thing that keeps you going is it gives you motivation. Every time somebody follows, every time somebody watches, like, you could pretty much do it. You're on your way to growth over here. Also note that they can unfollow and unsub, so don't really count on like this number all the time. It's just number go up, number go down. The other thing that I'm now going over is the dark side of streaming. It's not always flowers and rainbows, you're going to run into an issue with bots. There's been several bots that can spam your Discord, so you have to lock it down. And also, you could get fake followers that, follow and unfollow. Chat is hidden, right? No, you could chat if you want. You could chat if you want. You could get fake viewers, you get no interactions. It sort of looks awkward when there's just bots, a bunch of viewers and nobody talking. And you might get some endless self-promotion of people dropping links to websites. So it's good to have or require verified accounts that may require a follow time. Or next, the one thing I want to go over is the trolls. The trolls, there's plenty of trolls. They do everything that bots do and more. They can really say some really weird stuff in the chat. So when that happens, I usually filter the chat to the max and ban them everywhere. Give them no chance to affect your mental health or make any room in your head. So usually they also message you in the socials. Usually just block them. They might try to dox you and get your IP and phone number and address. So be careful here. Be careful here, guys. The other thing too, when you're vibe coding, you might leak secrets, especially when you're generating API keys. So one tip is to use a second monitor to work on, and to use a vault service to not store your API keys and secrets. If you need more information here, you can go to my other video here, how to master vibe coding. Next is, something, the dark side is your identity. It's pretty much going to get exposed, especially with Know Your Customer, with the App Store and the Microsoft Store and other stores. They expect you to have your data exposed, your whole name, right, and location, etc. And then your data there's some breach somewhere, and then there's data brokers that mine your data and put it on public websites. So one thing for those data brokers, you could do a data takedown request. Takedown request. To remove your information from their website. You could also, there's also that fear and anxiety of being judged when people view your stream, but there's really nothing to lose. But connections and reputation matter. So be a good, citizen and, follow all the rules. The last thing too for identity is you might lose motivation because you think you're not good enough. I know I'm not good enough for making YouTube videos, so I do all these preparations to make sure that the content and script that I follow makes sense and has good eye candy. So make sure to take a break and have fun and to run on your own schedule. Try not to. You lose motivation when you do everything that your chat does and viewers does or ask for, but it's your show. Next is one thing to be aware of is malicious links. When your viewers and chatters are posting messages all the time, you got to be aware of visiting their website. And they send it in the chat. So depending on what your risk tolerance is, you might want to disable links and only whitelist trusted supporters. There's also, if you wanted to check the reputations of sites, there's several URL scan products like VirusTotal, several. So you could always submit the URL to that particular website, and I'll tell you if it's has a bad reputation. And in that case, you probably shouldn't take the risk, to be honest. The next thing to be aware of, the dark side, is I add this as part of the dark side, but sometimes you're going to get some special people, and they're going to ask a lot of questions, but you just have to be patient. It might reduce productivity, but they might give you a lot of feedback. And usually you want to know this thing right here. How do you know if somebody cares? They usually point out something wrong. And if they don't really care, they don't really say anything. So pretty much if they say something, that means, it's really helpful feedback, and you should probably take it into consideration and not really take offense to it or anything. Next side too, it's hard to build trust, especially on the open airs. You're going to need moderation. And ideally, if you want to trust people to help you moderate, you got to have a history. You got to make sure the vibe is good. You want to make sure that they're a reasonable person of sound mind to talk to. They don't say, really crazy things, and you could trust them to, be an adult and properly, moderate your community. It also helps if they're a supporter, so they got investment in the game. They're patrons. You have good conversations with them as well, just to keep the vibe good. It also gives them more responsibility and more power to, they get to be in your Discord, you get to manage your emotes, you get to ban users. There's a lot of power that you give to the people that you trust as you grow your community. The next thing is time. We have limited time on this earth, also limited time in a day. So the one thing that I want to go over is all the things that take time. The one thing that takes the most time is the stream setup. It might be complicated for some, especially for me. I'm streaming from a computer, and the main thing, there's a lot of things that break during stream. So electricity goes out, the computer breaks, hardware breaks, you got audio issues, you got, internet going down. A lot of things like that happen. You also have to have time for the chores. You got to take care of your life, and you got to get some sleep. I myself haven't been getting much, but you got to be aware of the AI vampire, keeping you up at night because you have to answer every prompt, and keeping you up at 3 a.m. just to pay attention to it. But it's an addiction, and you gotta treat it with moderation. So take care of your life. You gotta eat your food, take care of your health, clean up, and have a good hygiene. The next and final thing is family, friends, and loved ones. They should be your priority number one. You could always stream tomorrow. And that's pretty much it. If you made it through this video, thank you for making it to this far. And, if you're watching this, I'm probably live right now. So say hello. And thanks again. Thanks for watching, everyone.